Couldn't ask for a better evening for a game of football. And as we wait for the teams to come out, it's worth just reflecting for a moment on just how much English clubs are dominating that trophy that you now see in front of you. When you remember that we used to look back on this tournament at first with disdain and then with envy, and then of course there was the success of Manchester United and the reflected glory of Celtic, and now we have the chance to become the first country to win it 3 times. Nottingham Forest players on the right as we look. Kent Johnson going through for the Swedes. That's Ljungberg, who's got a fine left foot. John O'Hare, one who's followed Brian Clough along the way. Chris Woods at the back, the reserve team goalkeeper, still waiting for his first chance. And the officials leading them onto the pitch. The referee is Erich Linemayr of Austria. We remember refereed the game between Scotland and Holland in Mendoza. Ingmar Erlendsson, who was also in the World Cup. Servine, one of the forwards. And at the back, Frank Clark. How good to see him there. He'll be 36 years old in September, and he thought his career had come to an end in 1974 when his team, then Newcastle United, were beaten by Liverpool in the FA Cup. They're the supporters of Malmö, currently in 4th place in their league, because their league competition has only been going for 10 games. They've played 10, the others have played 11, because their season runs from April till October, and I think they were the first side to have come so far in this competition when they play the season as they do. But some marvellous support here for Nottingham Forest. So many flags, Union Jacks. They've even had signs printed which says there is only one Gary Birtles. I and several other people on the plane were given them. There's a sight that we remember from the Olympic Games and indeed the World Cup as we look at the team from Sweden. One of the youngest, average age of only 25, 2 teenagers, Fritz and Shinval, 2 21-year-olds, Magnus Andersson and Ingmar Erlendsson. And as I mentioned at the start, Roy Andersson and Bo Larsen missing from the centre of their defence. Magnus Andersson, who's wearing 5, is normally a midfield player, and it's going to be a real test for him. I don't think you'll find that they're marked man for man at the back. Just 4 substitutes shows just how difficult it is for them to put out a side. They've had so many problems with injuries. You'll notice there another Andersson. I suppose it could be said it's been a fairy tale for them to have reached this stage. That's the Nottingham Forest line-up, and in a way Brian Clough's choice was, I won't say aided, that would be the wrong word, but he had problems with injuries in midfield, which in the end have resulted in Gemmell and O'Neill both missing the game. Bowyer, the only player with experience of a European final. He played for Manchester City in the Cup Winners' Cup final. We're bringing him in for a word during the course of the game, with Nottingham Forest about to get the 24th European Cup final underway, attacking the goal to the right and lining up with 2 forward, although Robertson was out on the far side. Here's Burton. Shinval immediately to him. Johnson. Burns. Oh, he's given it away to Shinval. And rescued by Shilton. Kenny Burns definitely in 2 minds then. He might have let it run to Shilton in the first place. And instead he decided to head it just to take the pace off it and give it to Shilton comfortably. And it came much too much off the top of his head. And Shinval was a little bit too eager. Robertson looking for Birtles, and Birtles showing the pace for the first time. And onto the roof of the net. He applauds the pass. Typical piece of play by Robertson. He was hanging back and played it through to Birtles, who used his pace well. The goalkeeper came to meet him, and this is his strength, Muller, but he couldn't just curl it round, Birtles. With 1 goal conceded. Birtles, Woodcock, he's in clean, and he carried it to the keeper. I don't think he deviated from the Chapa. Savine is in the middle. So is Burns. Shinval. Dropped short, seen by McGovern, and that's the left foot of Ljungberg that I was telling you about at the start. Really thumped it. Man who is as old as the club's coach, Bob Houghton. Foul. And 2 substitutions being made. 15 is Malmö coming on. And 6 is coming off Staffan Tapper, obviously because of the injuries, limping a bit. Just the 1 substitution. The 2 numbers put up there was for a player coming on and a player coming off. And it's half-time, bearing in mind that Malmö had lost 2 important players before the start of the match and have lost a third during the course of the first half. Robertson, the first time we've seen them attack them, and there's Francis! Well, that's what I wanted to see Robertson do. And Trevor Francis, the £1,000,000 man, puts his name on the score sheet and returns a great deal of the check. Robertson, the first time he's attacked them, used his pace, a fine cross, and in comes Francis to break the deadlock. 2 of the 3s looking a little disconsolate, I thought, as they came out of the dressing room. And for the record, 4 times 1 goal has been enough to win the European Cup. But I think it will be a huge disappointment for followers of the English game if that 1 goal by Trevor Francis at the death of the first half doesn't provide a launching pad for a rather better performance from Nottingham Forest in the second. Malmö supporters, undaunted it would seem. And I suppose they will remember that they were 3-1 down on aggregate to Wisla Krakow with only half an hour to go and survived. It was in the quarter-final, and then beat Austria Wien by the only goal in the second leg at home to Tommy Hansen. We're just looking at there with the moustache. So away we go on the second half. Fritz, Shinval had gone forwards. To do rather better than that with his shot. Calls any furrows on the brow of Peter Shilton. By the only goal. Haven't seen too much of this sort of thing from Anderson, just once I remember in the first half. But it doesn't matter anymore. Nottingham Forest have done it. Not the victory that they were looking for in style, but a victory nonetheless, causing Peter Taylor to smile, but noticeably not Brian Clough. But they don't mind about the score, they're only concerned.
Well, I think the Swedes were looking for a place in the sun, but unfortunately it wasn't to be this time.
Harry Lloyd, who left Liverpool rather hastily perhaps, was in the wilderness for some time, smiles as John McGovern holds the European Cup aloft. As Malmö come up and get their consolation medals, they're made of silver, the winners' medals are made of gold. Magnus Andersson, the number 5, did a good job in an unaccustomed role. Ken Jonsson, who was alongside him. Shinval, who had their best chance and was a little frightened of it, to be truthful. Jan Muller, Swedes think is as good a goalkeeper as Ronnie Hellström. In the meantime, the Forest players have gone to them again at Ljungberg coming down. Archie Gemmell. Every team needs a strength of squad, and it certainly served Forest well in their success in 72. Swedes going to their supporters. It was a bit of a fairy tale for them to get this far. They knew they were the underdogs. They lost key players of representing England, and they were determined that they wouldn't fail to a lesser side than Liverpool. They felt they'd beaten the best in Europe, and then wanted to prove that they indeed were worthy of succeeding to that title.